Hi friends, good evening once again. Welcome to the session. Today we will be talking about data analytics. Now, what is data analytics and why is it something which is kind of a pivotal or trivial job role which all the organizations are having nowadays? Yeah, I've just kept everybody on mute so that we don't have that disturbance. So what is data analytics and why we have to look into this specific task or topic today? Now, I see some of you are 360 Digit MG students, and I see you people are basically coming from data science classes. We'll also talk about what is the difference between data science job roles and data analytics job roles. What are the primary aspects that we'll have to focus when we talk about data analytics? So we'll try to segregate these roles and we'll try and understand what is the essence of having analytical skills or data analytics capabilities in you, right? And we'll also try and see job salaries and all that. So let's jump in to understand what exactly analytics is all about. Now, as I always keep saying, if you are my student, then you know, data is something which is going to be crucial for any business, right? We are living in digital world, and on digital platforms, we are generating a lot of digital data. And this digital data will basically allow us look into the history, look back. And if you can look back into the history and try and understand what happened, then you will be able to take better decisions for current and for future. Data is very, very important. Data never sleeps. Data will never lie. And data will always hold some or the other information that will be relevant for the business. So how I can take an advantage of this data that is getting generated because of the business transactions that I'm doing, right? This is the mindset that organizations have today. So you need to actually seize this opportunity and look at what are the tools and techniques that you should become aware of in order to fit into this job role. What tools we need to require, right? We need to learn how these tools are helping the organization or helping you to build your career. These are the things that we will try and understand. Now, in short, when we talk about data analytics, it is basically to analyze the data using scientific methods in order to extract meaningful information, so that using this information, the management, the business basically can take appropriate business decisions. Yeah, that's basically what data analytics actually mean. Now, there is very, very close relation between data analytics and data science job roles. As I already mentioned, we'll try to segregate these roles and see how analytics is different. But it all boils down to data. And this is what has happened. Thanks to COVID, we are pushed onto the digital platforms. This is the 1 minute cycle that we see. So there's so much of data that is getting generated, friends. If you observe here, so much of data, right? Now, what you will be doing with this data is the very important question from a business perspective. Okay, let me put it in very simple terms. Let's say you are basically looking into your own past, right? You have exams. All right, let's look into this perspective. You have exams and you'll have to write these exams, and let's say you have to perform well. So what you do, you assess your current conditions. You will see what all subjects you have to study, how you have to study, and all that. You'll basically plan. But will that actually help in achieving good performance? Maybe, maybe not. But if I can look back into my past, all the previous exams that I have written, how did I perform well? In what exam I performed well? In what exams I did not perform well? What are the various correlations that help me to perform well? Right? What all other factors which influence basically, right? So all this information can be understood if you can look into your past. For a human being, for us, it is all registered in our brains. For organizations, we are trying to record that past as events. These events are nothing but your data points. So it is like looking back into the past, trying to understand what went well or what worked well, what did not work well, and using that information, when you are now taking a decision, you will take an appropriate decision, right? Better decision, so that you know what things do you avoid to get better results, right? And this chart, it's basically talking about how we as humans, right, basically upskilled ourselves into the digital platforms in the pandemic times, right? We are talking about working from home. You can look at all the sectors have drastically moved onto the digital platforms, including the sectors like manufacturing sector, right? Manufacturing sector, you need to be in that particular situation, right? The heavy machineries are running in certain cases, right, in manufacturing sectors. But even in those kind of systems where or environments where physically people should be present, even those industries have moved themselves onto digital platforms. This signifies the amount of data that we are generating and how important this data becomes for the organizations. Now, you talk about any domain, any sector, we have so much of data that is getting generated, right? How do you take advantage of this data is the key question. For example, I want to see what ad campaigns worked well. I'm looking at history. So I would probably did some kind of marketing for selling my products. Which marketing campaign worked well, right? What is the ROI for each of this campaign? Which strategy worked? Which enhanced my sales, right? These kind of questions are basically being answered thanks to the historical data in all these domains, not just in retail, everywhere. Now, people who are coming from data science background, you might say that, hey, Sharit, you're already, right? I mean, I have attended your classes and you're already mentioned all these things as part of data science. Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned, there's a lot of overlap here, but data analytics looks at specific job roles and responsibilities. In that, we are actually looking at the historical data and looking at the reports, right? So gathering the requirements and trying to generate reports on that data to answer certain questions in the business. We're not talking about analyzing the entire business and trying to bring out new strategies by doing predictive analytics or by implementing machine learning. Those are basically the job roles and responsibilities for your data scientists. We're not talking about that here. I'm only talking about reports, which can tell me about what happened, right? So for example, if you look at these scenarios, what does business do with the data? What are they doing? A simple example of telecom industry. For example, Vodafone captures approximately 4 terabytes of customer data record. Now, what are they doing with that information or that data? Right? They need to invest so much to store that data, right? So why is that cost? Right? Why the organizations are investing so much? So you can see here, there are certain questions which can be answered by this data. You might want to understand in which area the network quality is good. In which area the quality of the network is bad. If I can understand that, probably I will put forward that information in front of the management and they may take a call on setting up an antenna, an aerial in that particular region. Right? So this is one use case. Customer churn rate. How many people are moving away? What segment of customers are moving away to the competitors? If I can analyze that, I will know the reasons for them to move out. What are those customer plans which are, what is that customers are basically happy with? For example, Vodafone, we basically speak about various telecommunication plans, right? GSM plans. Which plans are working, which plans are not working, right? What is my customer segment who are happy with Vodafone? What is that segment which is moving away to other competitors? So all this information will allow us to design various marketing and promotional campaigns which can ensure that the customers stay back and they are happy, of course. This is another example, General Electrics, G. We basically are looking at a huge amount of data that is getting collected by this organization, and what they do, they analyze the delivery routes of the raw products, right? So they try to identify what is the best way to deal with the energy. They generate, right, energy. And when I say energy, it is in different forms. Similarly, if you talk about automobile sector, insurance companies are in fact now getting tied up with these automobile companies by setting up analytical related solutions, right? These ideas, of course, are developed by data scientists, but implemented by data analysts, right? So you will get report. Now, what is that report which will help the businesses to take decisions? How many times the gears are getting changed? How many times the user, the driver, is applying brakes? Is the driver changing the lanes too many times? So risk factor can be assessed here, right? And using that risk factor, the businesses will understand what can be the next premium that customer can be given. Business decisions can be made, right? So analyzing the data is very, very important, which can also help us to take futuristic decisions. Let me put this very, very simple use case so that everybody understands why analytics is so important. A small grocery store, right? Imagine that you are the owner of a small grocery store, right? In India, we call that as general and kirana stores, right? So let's say you are the owner of that grocery store and you're doing daily business, right? If you are not basically using technology, right? Let's assume that we are from probably 1980s, 1990s. Those days, technology was not that, I should say, available to everyone. So let's say your business is running in a manual way. You maintain account books, you write everything, right? All the transaction details, the sales details, right? Vendor details, everything you're writing, you're putting it in a book. But because your data is small, you would be able to analyze the data and understand which products are basically getting sold more often. Who are those customers? Who are those customers who are visiting you regularly? Right? Which products are giving you better profit margin? So on and so forth. These are the kind of information that, right, you can retrieve. Now, thanks to the digital platforms, we have a lot of data which is digitally collected now, and using the capability of computers, we are basically trying to analyze all these questions. This can help maximize your profits. It will also help you to stock up your products, right? And maintain better relationship with your customers, right? So that's some of the questions that you can answer from your data. Let's say you are increasing your business, right? You are now making it a big store, right? Now, when you open multiple stores, in fact, not just one store, let's say you have gone into franchisee mode and you'll have many branches. You open many branches across the city or multiple cities. So you'll have more data coming in, and look at this. You can analyze the competitor analysis, right? You basically try and look at various competitors. In fact, you can look at each branch as a competitor and understand which branch is performing better, in which location, which ad works, for what products it is working, which customer segment, right? Etc., etc., etc. So many details can be answered. Same thing happens as and how your business grows, a lot of new questions come into the picture. And the way we are collecting the data, that is going to also change. If I go nationwide, sorry, by creating a platform, right? E-commerce, let's say e-commerce. You're giving a platform where customers can do business online. Thanks to COVID, this is something that everybody is doing. So a lot of data is getting generated on these e-commerce platforms, multiple transactional data, operational data, customer conversations, everything is getting recorded, and it will help us answer so many different questions. Ultimately, the objective is the data can help us address business questions, right? And in order to do that, we need to dig into the data and try and understand that information. Right? So this is the point where we basically try and understand why analytics is so important, right? Looking into the past. Now, if I talk about data science is basically a very vast subject. It talks about researching on various things using mathematical and statistical and business related aspects or skills and trying to understand the pain areas of the business and address those questions. And here we are using advanced data techniques, right? And we have further segmentation for the data science related roles. We call as AI, data mining, data science, machine learning, deep learning, right? All these are different branches of the data science subject, which basically speaks about researching on the data. In short, we are trying to automate, as a data scientist, we try to automate a business process so that the process will try to improvise itself with every iteration. Okay, that's a very simple way to put the AI concept. And this basically is a situational concept. I mean, when you say automate, it's not like you write an automate script, which takes rule 1, rule 2, rule 3 like that. But AI is more cognitive kind of a thing that we try and implement, situational based. Hence, we call it as intelligence rather than automation. That's the job role of data scientist. Now, when we talk about analytics, right, as I mentioned, data analytics is basically a process, and this is how we can define it. It is a process of exploring and analyzing the data which is collected by the organization, right? We basically call it as historical data or past events which are recorded. We explore and try to analyze this data so that we can derive insights, meaningful insights. And to do that, we use certain techniques, descriptive techniques and predictive techniques. This will actually help the decision making. The other way to explain data analytics is it's a process of collection, cleaning, and transforming the data so that we can extract meaningful information. Now, the question comes up here is how, what we do, right? What tools I should use. So if I look at, right, the analytics, there are 4 types of analytics. First, to start with, you need to understand that. And once you are clear with these 4 stages of analytics, then it will become very easy for us to segregate the job roles of data scientist and data analyst. Data analytics can be broadly segmented into these 4 categories. You can combine these 2, and this is where your core data analytics stuff comes up. We are basically looking at the past, right? What happened is something that we try to address. And we also try and investigate and answer why it happened. Okay. Then comes the predictive analytics, which basically looks into this past, tries to implement a solution which can help us understand what may happen. Futuristic. Now, in order to implement this, we have to bring in mathematical and statistical capabilities. Machine learning will come into picture. This is where your data scientist feature. But this is where your data analysts will work on. In short, data analysts are the people who are basically going to give stories about the data or stories about the business using the data. Right? We basically look out for stories from the data. This is nothing but understanding the past. All right. So this is the key difference between data scientists and data analysts. Now, how do we implement this? In order to implement the data analytics related solutions, you need to understand and use data systems. One of the most important and trivial data systems that is there from ages is Excel. So as a data analyst, you should be familiar with Excel as well. Let me take you guys to the slide which talks about the tools. Microsoft Excel is the first or the oldest, I would rather say. This is the oldest of the tools. And this is a tool which works with various other products which Microsoft provides, right? All the different Microsoft Office related options that we have, it easily integrates and works with that. It also supports programming, right? If you are familiar with Excel, if you are an advanced user of Excel, you'll appreciate, right? Lot of programming can also be done. We will be able to do programming using VBA, macros, and all that, right? basic editor. I mean, VBA is nothing but Visual Basic Editor if you're not familiar with that. And you'll be learning those concepts as part of the data analytics program here. Advanced Excel is what we'll be also learning. Not the basic, not the basic Excel that we are familiar with. Using Excel, you will be performing a lot of analytics, which will help us organize the large data that we are basically looking at from the business perspective. And in fact, we will be able to display this data, organized data, in basically using lines and charts, right? All these different graphs that are available in Excel, we will be able to use those for basically experimenting and expressing the information that can be extracted from the data. So this is the tool that we'll be learning, Advanced Excel. Then another tool that we talk about is SQL and NoSQL. These are the database softwares. These are the softwares which hold the data, right? This is where we archive the data, store the data. You need to basically extract information from the data, right? So RDBMS softwares basically hold the data. These are called as legacy systems or traditional systems. And in this, the data is stored in tables. Now, in order to extract information out of this, we use the query language, structured query language. The capabilities of SQL are immense, but it works only on structured data. But this is one of the software where majority of the businesses still hold the data. And this is the system. So you will be learning about SQL capabilities. At the same time, the businesses are now using a lot of unstructured data, right, to take advantage of the data which is getting generated from all the corners, different touch points. So that data, which is unstructured in nature, gets stored in this NoSQL database, and you'll be learning about the skills of how you operate a NoSQL database. What are the different types of data that we can store in these softwares? How the data is managed, right? All these skills are something that you should possess for doing data analysis. Then comes the visual representations, the storytelling applications. Tableau and Power BI. These two tools are business intelligence tools, and they are similar. If you ask me, both these tools are similar. Power BI is basically called as a self-service business analytics tool, and this is developed by Microsoft. Right? It's called as a self-service business analytics tool. We will be able to use a lot of readily available, I should say, visualizations, right? The different preloaded visualizations to visually represent your data, right? And try to extract that information by looking at various reports and dashboards. It will allow, basically Power BI allows us to extract meaningful information by looking at visual stories, right? And we will be able to share the information between various departments or various stakeholders to take the advantage of the data that we already have. Here, you will be learning something called as a DAX. DAX is nothing but data analysis expressions. Now, these DAX are nothing but some of the capabilities, if I have to put it right in a very simple way. These are nothing but some of the capabilities of your Power BI, which will allow us to use preloaded techniques to process your data and come up with information. Then comes the powerful and very, I should say, popular business intelligence tool, which is called as Tableau. Tableau was, I think, originated in 2003 or 4, around that time. Okay, when world was looking at big data, right? People started looking at, organizations started looking at data and taking the advantage of data. That's where this tool was developed and released into the market. Very, very powerful tool used by data scientists, data analysts, data engineers, a lot of people, right? Many people will use it. As I mentioned, Power BI is also very similar to Tableau. Tableau basically deals with less programming, I would say. All you need is some basic SQL queries that can help you to manipulate the data, to join multiple sources data and all that in Tableau. And using this Tableau, you can generate interactive reports, interactive dashboards, right? And both these tools have the capability to connect to various sources from where the data can be fetched, right? And both these are used for storytelling as well. Each of, as I mentioned, each of these tools, it's like competitor tools, okay? Each of these have their own capabilities while right, trying to develop these storytelling dashboards. Here you will be using a little bit of programming with respect to .NET and all that, but Microsoft related right, softwares. Tableau deals with simple SQL programming. Anyways, you are learning the SQL programming here. So it will make this knowledge will make you very comfortable when you're dealing with Tableau. Now, if I have to talk about, right, the difference between the job roles of data scientists and data analysts. When you look at the job descriptions for these right, data scientists and data analyst job roles, you will primarily look at machine learning capabilities and mathematical and statistical capabilities and advanced AI and DL requirements in data science, right? They help to basically come up with some kind of advanced level data analytics or data techniques, I should say, like your machine learning and deep learning. But what we do here is we try to do predictive analytics to estimate what is there in the store, what can happen. Now, if you talk about a data analyst is a person who basically looks at data. You can say that he collects the data, then pre-processing or processing of the data can be done here, right? And reports generation is what the data analyst is primarily responsible for, right? And if you talk about the tools and techniques, programming related tools are more heavier here compared to data analyst. Though data science also does not speak about much of the programming related aspects, but you should be familiar with these programming frameworks that we talk about, like Python, Java. You can talk about big data platforms like Hive, Spark, right? These are some of the benefits that data scientists can basically take advantage of, right? And of course, we'll have Tableau, Power BI, these kind of reporting capabilities as well, right? BA tools. But primarily, you'll also have these skills. Whereas data analyst, right, you should be familiar with Excel. Okay? This is something that you have to be familiar with. Of course, here also it will help, because ultimately you're dealing with data analysis only. Python, programming languages will help, but primarily we will talk about business intelligence and the sources of your data, which is primarily SQL or NoSQL database softwares. awareness about these database softwares, Excel, and business intelligence tools. A little bit of Python knowledge will definitely help, right? For data cleaning, data processing, it will definitely help. So that's, you can see very similar, right, job roles. But as part of analyst, data analyst, you will be doing descriptive. You're not talking about predictive analytics. You're talking about descriptive analytics here. So again, if you talk about data science, you'll have interpretation of the data, doing research using machine learning and various mathematical and statistical programming language, concepts. Then building visualizations. Here also, you'll have the building visualization capabilities, right? Whereas if you talk about data analyst, we are basically trying to gather the data, understand the requirements, pre-process, clean the data, and then report the data. Generate reports. So these are some of the roles that data analyst is basically referred for. Now, we are living in the world of data, right? So if I open the job roles, I'll simply probably talk about Naukri. I'm just randomly opening this, okay? I will say data analyst. Okay, intern jobs are also there, right? I'll say data analyst. And look at this. These are the primary tools that you'll basically use as part of data analyst. I'll just search this. Look at the number of job roles job opportunities that are available here, right? And salaries, you can see 0 to 4 years, right? They start salaries somewhere from 2 lakhs to 6.5 lakhs per annum. It's going to vary, okay, depending on the skill sets that the person is having. This is for a fresh graduates, right? The salary is not disclosed here. Look at this. Associate data analyst, 3 lakhs to 4.5 lakhs. So people who want to get into the data world, right? This is going to be your first step into the data world, right? So huge number of job opportunities that you see are with respect to your data analyst. So a data analyst for me is kind of the first step into the data world. So data scientists will be more experienced people who basically come up with predictive analytics and all that. So if you look into the hierarchies, right? I mean, if you talk about various job opportunities that you see in the space of data, this comes first. Data analyst is the first job role. Very, right, I should say similarities are there with respect to business analyst as well. This is also some of the organizations use this name as well. But both of them are very similar for roles and responsibilities in the business. Similar, I'm not saying same, similar. Then comes the data scientist, right? Data scientists, as I said, are more experienced in the business scenarios, more experienced with the data, right? But yes, freshers are also getting jobs here. This because data analyst is like a sub branch of data science job role, right? So that's about the overview of your program. So typically you will be learning these 4 tools and the capabilities of the tools in order to analyze the data and derive insights, right? Combination of all these. And the program basically runs for close to 3 months, right? And you have around 130 hours of training here, right? And you'll also have assignments and capstone projects here. All right. You may also end up getting these live projects so that you get the exposure on how these tools are actually used in industries. There are specific job roles for Power BI admins, Power BI developers, or Tableau developers, right? And these job roles are not something which give you very basic salary. These are very specialized and niche job roles, and the job, the salaries are also very good, right? On an average, you can see somewhere, right? As a fresher, you can see probably 3 lakhs to 7 lakhs package. I should say LPA. Okay. For freshers, I'm speaking about. On an average, this is the salaries that you can expect for a fresher. All right. Okay, so there's a question. Which is better, data science or data analyst? So I would basically put it this way. Data analyst is the first step into your world of data. Once you get into this, the next step is data science, right? Next step. If you are deciding that you want to get into data science domain or data domain, data as your career path, then you can either choose this or choose this, right? Here, it would be more of mathematical, statistical, logical concepts, I would say. But those concepts will help us to do predictive. So it is like, as I mentioned, next step, right? More advanced step than data analyst. Domain does not matter, right? Your background, education background does not matter in world of data, right? When you're speaking about data, we are not talking about tools or techniques. That is not the focus here. Of course, we will be using these tools and techniques, but to derive information from data. Now, I would ask the question, does mechanical background or manufacturing sector or any sector which is basically connected to mechanical background, does those organizations or that does business or industries, do they generate data or not? If you say no, then yes, maybe you're not fit into this. But if you say yes, then you also have a scope. Everybody, in fact, has a scope into getting into the data world. All right. Yeah, placement assistance will be given. Yes, and that is the reason why we say assignments are there. You'll ensure that you finish your assignments and then you enroll into a project. You'll get hands-on how a project is being implemented, right? So these kind of experience that you get will enable you to apply for jobs. And when you are getting ready, we will also help you with mock interviews and all that. So that assistance is definitely there. All right. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Yes, friends. Do we have any questions? Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. Please post your question. You can type or you can unmute yourself and speak. You can unmute yourself.
Sir, suppose if I get trained in small company, once if I get trained, then so I can apply now, sir, for data analyst or data scientist role.
Yes, projects is something which will be crucial side. That basically gives you the exposure into the real world scenarios, the organization scenarios, how these different tools and techniques and capabilities, the concepts that you have learned are actually being implemented. Once you are exposed to that environment, then yes, you can readily be right applying for jobs.
Okay.
So you should be able to unmute Karthik. Sorry, Mahesh.
Yeah, Sharath, I have a question.
Yeah.
In this course, we have not mentioned what is the difference between SQL, NoSQL, and MySQL. One thing, and
Sorry,
second, in SQL, NoSQL, and MySQL. What are the
MySQL.
difference between?
Okay.
Yes.
Did you join
And,
late? I explained about that.
Okay. No, you have not explained about MySQL.
MySQL is one of the softwares which is basically an RDBMS software. In order to manipulate data, we use the SQL language.
Okay.
MySQL is a software.
Okay. Then in Power BI, are we going through this Power Query concept also?
Power Query, yes, I think yes. Power Query should also be there. Yeah.
Okay. And my third question is why we are not including the Alteryx tool?
See why we are not including. There are hundreds and thousands of tools, Mahesh. How popular is Alteryx? If you look into the market, right, you cannot expect you learn hundreds of different things which are basically being asked by different companies. When you're skilling yourself up, right, you're trying to skill yourself up, you'll focus on those things which are popular in the industry, right? So Power BI, first is Tableau, then is Power BI. These are two mandatory tools which I would probably recommend for people who want to get into data world. Then Python is something that you probably will be learning, right? Anyways, eventually you have to learn. SQL and NoSQL, these are the traditional systems. So SQL especially is a legacy system. You'll have to learn that. But Alteryx, I don't see that popularity for it. At least for me, it is not that popular.
Okay.
Yeah, Mahmood, not really required. I would recommend not. No. Business analytics and data analytics. Okay, see, when you talk about business analytics, we primarily focus on business needs, business requirements, business continuity, and all that. Data analytics is basically complementing this by trying to apply some technical skills, trying to quantify the information that business requires to take decisions. So when you look at these two, for me, again, there's a lot of overlap. I would probably say industry misuses these two terminologies or tries to just use them to attract more people who are familiar with business analytics, MBA, BBA. These people basically look into business analytics as the key term. And people who are more keen or more looking into data side of things, they are keen on using the word data analytics. For me, both are similar. It's just that where is your focus? Is more focused towards functional side of things, business side of things, or is your focus more towards data side of things to help business? Okay, can I get a job which not now, data analytics job? Can get job which not now. I didn't understand that question. If I can get job which not now, data analytics, join immediately. Please rephrase that question, Jose. Not really, Patil. This is basically data analytics related module. Will not go into the details of a lot of business statistics, but yes, we will be covering statistics which is required for processing the data. Right? From descriptive analytics, whatever is required, we will cover those things as part of the program. Yes. Python, no. You probably will get recorded videos for Python. You can maybe take those things. Yeah, data analytics, as I said, it is spanning for a duration of 3 months. Data science again is 3 months to 4 months, you can say. But the content will be different in data science, content will be different in data analytics. No, programming is not at all required, Shesharao. Yes, but in this area, you will be writing some queries. So when you say programming, you will have to try and understand the data and try to ask the question using certain syntaxes. For data analytics, we basically, right, I look at these two tools as the pivotal tools for a data analyst. And here, we don't require much of coding. Maybe I should say 3% to 5% of the coding. That's it. Knowing data analytics to join in business analytics. Yes, you can definitely choose. You can, but even business requires a lot of data and analyzing the data. As I mentioned, they are very, very tightly coupled, the terminologies, the roles and responsibilities, right? But in business analytics, you can probably go ahead and apply for jobs even without the skills of Tableau or Power BI or SQL. You can. But Microsoft Excel will be something which is common in both. You need to have that skill at least. I'm a science graduate and working. Yes, definitely, Jaikar, you can, absolutely. This would be, as I mentioned, the first step into data world. Yes, Mohammed, Ganesh is there. Ganesh can share you the content. Or you can also refer to the website, right? We have all the data there. And yeah, more detailed information can also
Hello,
be.
sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Karthik, sir. Myself, Karthik.
Yeah, Karthik.
So I have small doubt, sir. Actually, I am a mechanical background, sir. So present I am working with Renault Service, sir. So I have 3 doubts. So one is which domain is best for us? Means data science or data analysis.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Karthik, what is your background, you said?
Background, sir. Mechanical background.
Mechanical background. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So let's say you're basically joining a manufacturing company.
No, sir. I'm working with service, no, not manufacturing service.
No. I'm giving you an example, Karthik.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, let's say you joined a manufacturing company. In the manufacturing company, probably there are certain, the work which is very, very core to mechanical field. Okay, let's say. Okay, now in this manufacturing firm, when you join, they will be asking you to analyze the data. Okay. Now, when you say analyze the data, you will take the data which is stored. Probably you'll be using an Excel sheet, right? The data is probably stored in Excel. So you'll open the Excel sheet. And when you look at these fields, the data, right? You may not be able to directly tell what has happened or what is happening in the business. So what you do is you take up these tools and try to generate some reports. When I say reports, you'll try to represent the data using some plots, visualizations, right? When you say, for example, right, which products have a lot of, let's say, manufacturing defects. There are 3 different variations of products that the company is manufacturing. Okay. So they will ask you on, hey, which product is better, which product is having a lot of issues. So what do? You'll have to generate a report, right? That is basically nothing but a job role of an analyst. Okay, that's how I can, I'm just trying to put it in a very simple terms. An analyst is responsible, data analyst is responsible for generating that report. Now,
Okay.
how does it matter if you're coming from a mechanical background or you're coming from life sciences healthcare background, right? Or you're done your master's in agriculture, for example, or you're coming from a technical background. How does it really matter? If you're working in XYZ organization, there will be data. And on the data, you want to understand what kind of things have happened in the past. So you will be interested to generate these reports, right? Now, I'm saying you will be generating those reports using certain tools. Excel, you'll be using Power BI, you'll be using Tableau. There are many other tools that probably an organization is using. But ultimately, you are trying to generate reports. Right? Making sense, Karthik?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you, irrespective of what background you're coming from, you focus on learning the concepts on what kind of reports are more useful for a business, given a scenario. So you can see there are various charts that you can explore, right? All this data segmentation and all these different concepts that you will be learning will help you to answer the appropriate answer the questions in an appropriate way. So don't worry about your background. That really does not matter. Okay, so coming to this course content, some of you are asking about the course content.
And one more question, sir. Any coding related skills required, sir, for data science?
Karthik, data science or data analyst?
Data science, sir. I'm choosing data science.
Data science, you'll have to learn Python programming.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, these are the primary tools that you will be learning here. Right? It's there in right your website. So come to 360 Digit MG, and under data science and business intelligence, you can see this certificate program in data analytics, and this is basically like the details. 132 hours, 80 hours plus of assignments and e-learning, and then you'll also have projects. Right? You can go into the content. Yeah, yes, Mohammed, you can say it is kind of designed, yes. Either one is fine, Swaroop. See, it depends on how you're thinking, how business minded you are, right? It depends on that. Data science is about researching, and we try to look into future as well. Data analytics is only an area where you look at the current and the past, right? So it depends what you want to choose. Both of these fields have good amount of opportunities. Business analytics. Yeah, in MBA, you will basically be learning these analytics only, right? See, Jose, what I see in your profile is you probably need some industry exposure, and you also need some kind of the tools and techniques knowledge. Right? When I say experience with respect to these tools and techniques, I'm talking about how do you actually use them in the industry and generate some kind of reports which will help the businesses. So that skill is something that you don't have. You probably have some other skills, right? Sales field, you are there in sales field. So you have to take up these tools, start looking at these tools, looking at business data, try to generate some reports and see how it can actually help. And you can put that project experience in your profile and you start applying for jobs. Yeah, I've already talked about that, Sheshara. I clearly spoke about, in fact, I opened and showed you Naukri as well. Average salaries is somewhere around 3 lakhs to 7 lakhs per annum. Job placement assistance is given. Course duration is 3 months. Please focus when we are discussing. Don't get diverted. I cannot comment on that, Sangram. It varies. I mean, I have probably 3 students to 30 students, Sangram. How does that really matter? Okay, data analysis program will be hard to understand. No, we are talking about data, Jakir. It's not. Again, see, focus this. These tools that we are going to talk about, right? The Tableau, the Power BI, these are business intelligence tools. So it is all navigation based. There is no programming at all. I mean, when I say not at all, some kind of queries is something that you'll have to write. Like I will say, okay, select a specific field name from a table. This is the kind of English related right instructions that we give. This is basically your SQL syntax. Okay, so it has nothing to do with programming background or non-computer background. Manisha, it would be online, Manisha. Swarup, I already answered that question, Swarup. Either one, it's purely your interest. You will have to analyze, dig into the concepts. We are talking about 2 things here. One is predictive analytics. One is descriptive analytics. In order to do descriptive analytics, you'll have to first go through descriptive analytics and then come to predictive analytics. So data science is a big umbrella. Under that, you have data analytics. Right? It's sub-module, it's a branch. Salaries wise, yes, data science job roles will have higher salaries compared to data analytics job roles. Because as I said, data science is big umbrella. It has additional skill sets compared to data analytics. No, you don't need any mastery, not required, Prasad Rat. No, not at all. Patil, Sadayu, all those details will be shared by Ganesh. Right, the schedules, the durations, the content, course content, everything. You can get that information from Ganesh. No, Manoj, again, I did not understand your question, but yeah. Python coding, no, not required. Yeah, Badrinath, Ganesh can help you with that information. Yes, Mahmoud, you can contact Ganesh. Yes, definitely. If you are an existing student, obviously you'll get the discounts. Offline, we may not have offline for certain modules. For certain modules, we can plan and have it offline, Swarup. Because there are faculty who will basically connect from different places, right? It's not that we have one location. There are different tools that we're talking about. Tableau is a different tool, Power BI is a different tool, Excel is a different software, SQL and NoSQL is different softwares. So we'll have different experts who come up with their specific modules, right? So it's not one location where we have all the faculty coming. So it is online. Yeah, Mahmoud, as I mentioned, right? We'll have different mentors who are experts in their specific roles. They will come and explain the concepts. You can start with the data analytics juice. Again, see, it's a decision that you will have to take by analyzing various things in both these, right? I should say career paths. They will be overlapping at a time, right? As you grow in your career, they will be overlapping, but which direction you want to go is something you also have to assess. But from my side, I would recommend data analytics for you before you go to data science role. Yes, Varu, for now, yes, it's online course. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. Hope I'm glad I could help. All right. Yeah, welcome, friends. Welcome. I have no software background. Should I learn any programming language? See, generally, when you talk about data science course, Python will be one of the integral part of the course. So you will be learning the Python as part of the program itself. Explicitly, you don't have to learn well in advance, but if you want to learn good, go ahead. Any language you give more time will become better. Right? It could be English or Hindi or any other language you talk about, not just programming language. You practice more, you become better. So yes, it will help you definitely, but it is not mandatory. All right, friends. Thank you so much for connecting. We'll wind up the session now. Hope I have given you some some kind of idea or some kind of information with respect to the differences between data scientist job roles and data analyst job roles. Hope it will help you transform your career paths into the right directions. Thank you so much and stay safe. Good night, everyone.